Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you deeper into something most people misunderstand about human emotions, and that is this simple but powerful truth. Deep missing is often silent, not loud. See, the world has taught us that feelings must be announced to be real. We've been conditioned to believe that if somebody misses you, they should call you, text you, show up at your door, or pour their heart out in dramatic words. But real life, real emotions, and real attachment don't always work that way. The strongest feelings don't always scream. Sometimes they whisper, sometimes they hide, and sometimes they sit quietly inside a person, growing stronger every single day without making a sound. You see, when someone truly misses you from the depth of their heart, they don't always know how to express it. Missing somebody deeply makes a person vulnerable, and vulnerability is one of the hardest states for any human being to stand in. It requires honesty, courage, and emotional risk. And not everybody is ready for that. So instead of speaking up, they stay quiet. Instead of calling you, they stare at your contact name. Instead of sending the message, they type it out and erase it. That silence you see is not emptiness. That silence is a battle between pride and longing, between fear and desire, between ego and love. Now listen carefully, because this is where most people get it wrong. When someone is loud about missing you, that can be real, yes. But noise is easy. Anybody can say words. Anybody can make dramatic gestures. But silence is heavy. Silence carries weight. Silence means the feeling is so strong that the person is afraid of it. They don't trust themselves with it. They worry that if they open their mouth, everything they've been holding back will come rushing out all at once. So they hold it in, they sit with it. They live with it quietly. Real missing shows itself in small, almost invisible ways. It shows up when they randomly check your social media without liking anything. It shows up when your name crosses their mind during an ordinary moment. It shows up when they hear a joke and think they would laugh at this. They may never tell you, but your presence still lives in their daily life. You exist in their thoughts like a song stuck on repeat. That's not noise. That's silence doing its work. And let me tell you something else about silence. Silence is honest. Words can lie, actions can pretend, but silence rarely fakes emotion. When someone truly doesn't care, they move on peacefully. They don't think about you. They don't check for you. They don't hesitate. Indifference is quiet too, but it's a different kind of quiet. Indifference is empty silence. Missing someone is full silence. One has nothing inside it, and the other is overflowing with unspoken feeling. And if you pay attention closely, you can feel the difference. People who miss you deeply often fight it. They try to distract themselves. They stay busy. They talk to other people. They convince themselves they're fine. But the feeling doesn't disappear. It waits. It lingers. It returns at unexpected times, like late at night when everything is calm and there's no noise left to drown it out. That's when silence becomes loud. That's when they feel it the most. Not in the crowd, not in the daytime, but in the stillness when their heart finally speaks louder than their mind. So understand this, ladies and gentlemen. The next time you think someone doesn't miss you just because they haven't said it, don't be so quick to judge. Some people love quietly. Some people long quietly. Some people miss quietly. And their silence is not a sign of absence. It's a sign of depth. Because shallow feelings make noise, but deep emotions move in silence. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that many people overlook when it comes to human emotions, and that is this powerful truth. Someone who misses you lingers emotionally. Now understand what that really means. When a person has truly connected with you on a deep level, when your presence has touched their routine, their thoughts, their comfort, and even their sense of identity, they don't just detach from you like flipping off a switch. Human beings are not machines. We don't disconnect instantly. We don't erase emotional bonds like deleting a file. Real attachment leaves traces, and those traces don't disappear just because time passes or distance grows. You see, when someone misses you deeply, they might leave physically, they might stop talking, they might even act like they've moved on, but emotionally they linger. That means a part of them is still with you. A part of their thoughts still circles around memories you created together. A part of their feelings still reacts to your name, your voice, or even the idea of you. And here's what most people misunderstand: emotional lingering is not always visible. It doesn't always show up in obvious ways. Sometimes it shows up in hesitation. Sometimes it shows up in curiosity about your life. Sometimes it shows up in the way they can't fully give themselves to someone else because a piece of their heart is still holding space for you. Lingering is what happens when a connection was real. Superficial interactions don't linger. Casual encounters don't linger. People you didn't truly matter to don't linger. But when someone misses you deeply, their emotions don't know how to just walk away. They stay behind like echoes in a room. You may not hear them all the time, but they're there, bouncing quietly off the walls of their mind. That's why sometimes you'll notice strange little signs. They might suddenly ask a mutual friend about you. They might bring up an old memory in conversation. They might react subtly when they hear your name. These are not accidents. These are emotional footprints. These are signs that even if they stepped out of your life, their feelings didn't step out with them. And let me tell you something important. Emotional lingering is not weakness. People think that if someone can't move on quickly, it means they're fragile. That's not true. It often means they felt something genuine. Real emotions take time to fade because they were never shallow to begin with. When you build real memories with someone, your mind stores them with meaning. Your heart attaches feelings to them. So when that person is no longer there, your system doesn't just erase them. It replays them. It revisits them. It holds onto them quietly. Now here's the deeper truth. Someone who lingers emotionally may never admit it. Pride might stop them. Fear might stop them. Circumstances might stop them. They might tell the world they're fine. They might convince themselves they've let go. But emotions don't always obey logic. Feelings don't follow commands. And missing somebody deeply has a way of slipping through the cracks of denial. It shows up unexpectedly in small moments when they least expect it. Maybe when they pass a place you used to go together. Maybe when they hear a phrase you used to say. Maybe when they experience something good and their first instinct is to tell you about it before they remember you're not there. That's what emotional lingering looks like. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's persistent. It's quiet. It's steady. It's the invisible thread that stays tied long after the visible connection is gone. And the reason it happens is simple. When someone truly misses you, your absence doesn't remove your impact. Your absence only removes your presence. Your impact stays. Your influence stays. Your memory stays. And in their emotional world, you're not fully gone. You're just no longer within reach. Expend 3 key, not 800 words without subheading and conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about something subtle, something quiet, something most people overlook because they are too busy listening for words instead of watching behavior. When someone misses you deeply, they often don't come straight to you. They don't always call. They don't always text. They don't always confess what they feel. Instead, they show up indirectly. And understand this clearly. Indirect presence is not confusion. It is intention mixed with fear. It is emotion trying to stay close without risking rejection. You see, when a person truly misses you, their heart wants connection, but their mind is cautious. They don't know where they stand with you. They don't know if their feelings will be welcomed or pushed away. So instead of walking straight through the front door, they circle the house. They look through the windows. They stand nearby. They find ways to feel close without fully exposing themselves. That's why indirect signs are so powerful. They reveal desire without demanding a response. This kind of behavior shows up in small, almost invisible ways. They might suddenly appear in places they know you frequent. They might engage with things connected to you without directly engaging with you. They may watch your life from a distance, staying updated without stepping forward. This is not accidental. Human beings do not repeatedly move toward what they don't care about. Attention is energy, and nobody invests energy where there is no feeling. Now listen closely. When someone doesn't miss you, they don't check, they don't look, they don't stay curious. Curiosity is emotional attachment in disguise. If a person truly let go, your life would no longer interest them. They wouldn't wonder how you're doing. They wouldn't notice changes. They wouldn't feel that pull. But when someone misses you deeply, curiosity becomes their quiet habit. They want to know if you're happy. They want to know if you're okay. They want to know if you've moved on. Not because they want control, but because emotionally they are still connected. Indirect contact is also a form of emotional testing. They are checking the temperature. They are asking silent questions. Do I still matter? Would I be welcomed if I reached out? Is there still space for me? And instead of asking these questions out loud, they watch your reactions from afar. They notice how you move, how you speak, how you respond to the world. This is what people do when they care, but don't feel safe enough to be vulnerable. And let me tell you something important. This kind of behavior often comes from someone who feels deeply but has been hurt, rejected, or disappointed before. They don't want to open a wound again. They don't want to expose their heart just to have it ignored. So they stay close without touching. They remain present without speaking. That silence is not coldness. That silence is caution wrapped around longing. Sometimes people mistake indirect signs as games or immaturity. But that's not always the truth. Sometimes it's a person managing strong emotions the only way they know how. They are trying to protect themselves while still honoring what they feel. And missing someone deeply puts you in a very vulnerable position because it means admitting that someone still has emotional power over you. Not everyone is brave enough to admit that openly. You also need to understand that indirect presence often means the feelings haven't faded, but the situation hasn't changed. They might miss you, but they may not see a clear path back. They may miss you, but they don't know how to fix what broke. They may miss you, but pride, timing, or circumstance stands in the way. So instead of action, they choose proximity. Instead of words, they choose observation. Instead of confession, they choose quiet connection. And here's the truth most people need to hear. When someone is truly done with you, they don't linger on the edges of your life. They don't hover. They don't keep finding reasons to stay aware of you. Emotional detachment looks clean. It looks final. Indirect presence, on the other hand, looks messy, subtle, and unfinished. It's the behavior of someone who hasn't fully let go, even if they pretend they have. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you even deeper into the quiet, subtle ways human emotions reveal themselves, because when someone misses you deeply, they start showing up indirectly. And this is one of the most powerful signs that is often overlooked. It's not about grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It's not about shouting their feelings from the rooftops. Real longing, the kind that comes from the heart, works in whispers, in hints, in small, almost invisible actions that speak louder than words ever could. The person doesn't always come straight to you because there's fear involved, fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability, fear of being misunderstood. And so they find ways to stay near you without fully stepping into your world. Indirect signs appear in ways that might seem casual, but they are purposeful. For instance, they might check in on you through mutual friends, asking subtle questions about your life without appearing to pry. They might engage with things that are connected to you, like in an old social media post, responding to something you wrote, or commenting in ways that are almost invisible but meaningful if you pay attention. They might remember small details from your past interactions and mention them in conversation, not because they want attention, but because they are trying to maintain a connection without risking exposure. This is not coincidental behavior. It is deliberate, guided by the heart even when the mind hesitates. People often mistake these indirect signs for confusion, manipulation, or games, but the truth is much simpler and far more human. Missing someone deeply creates tension between desire and caution. They want to reach out, to connect, to express how much they care, but they are held back by the uncertainty of your response or by their own insecurities. So instead of confronting the situation directly, they orbit around it. They stay emotionally present in subtle ways, watching from a distance, looking for cues, feeling connected without taking overt risks. This is the delicate dance of someone who cares more than they dare to admit. They are present without stepping fully into your space, and in that presence, you can feel them even if you don't hear them. The power of indirect presence lies in its persistence. Unlike fleeting attention or casual curiosity, someone who misses you deeply doesn't just drift away. They continue to find ways to remain close, even when circumstances or distance prevent direct interaction. They remember important dates, small habits, and personal preferences, often showing their care through actions that seem incidental, but are, in fact, intentional. They might send a message at an unexpected time, share something that reminded them of you, or reach out when they know it won't be intrusive. Every small action is an echo of their attachment. Every minor gesture is a sign of lingering presence. Emotional indirectness also serves as a protective mechanism. When someone misses you, their heart is vulnerable. Admitting it outright exposes them to rejection and disappointment. Pride and fear often stop them from speaking directly. Instead, they navigate their longing through subtlety. They stay aware of your life, but from the edge, keeping their emotions tethered yet contained. This is why indirect signs are so consistent over time. Unlike impulsive actions driven by fleeting desire, this behavior is steady, measured, and carefully considered. It is emotional connection expressed without risk, a quiet form of devotion that is easily missed if one is not observant. Another important aspect of this indirect presence is that it often mirrors the depth of the relationship they shared with you. People who are only casually connected or superficially involved do not linger. They do not orbit. They do not track your life quietly. But someone who truly misses you carries your influence within them. They observe your growth, notice your joys, and feel your struggles from afar. They are emotionally invested, and this investment manifests in ways that are small, indirect, but profoundly revealing. You can recognize it if you learn to read the signs and understand the motives behind them. And here's something most people don't realize. Indirect signs are also a form of emotional testing. They are evaluating the landscape before taking the risk to approach fully. They want to know if the timing is right, if their presence is welcome, and if their feelings will be received without resistance. Every like, every comment, every question through a third party is a subtle probe. They are checking the waters without plunging in. This is not weakness or cowardice. This is caution in the service of genuine emotion. It is someone who values the connection too much to risk destroying it through rashness. So when you notice these behaviors, when someone seems present in your life without fully engaging, when they watch, remember, or respond in small, indirect ways, understand that this is a sign of deep missing. It is an emotional footprint, a trace of their continued care and attachment. It is proof that even if they cannot openly express their feelings, their heart remains connected to yours. The person is silently declaring, I am here, I care, I notice, I feel, all without saying a single word. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the most profound signs that someone misses you deeply, their quiet, indirect presence in the spaces where your life still matters to them. Ladies and gentlemen, let's explore something that many people completely misunderstand about human emotions, and that is the idea that true attachment doesn't disappear quickly. When someone misses you deeply, the bond they share with you does not simply vanish because of time, distance, or circumstances. Human emotions are not mechanical. They are not switches you can flip on or off. Real connections, the ones that touch the heart and soul, leave a mark that endures. Even when two people are apart, even when they no longer talk every day, that bond remains. It lingers in the mind, the heart, and the routines that once included each other. The impact of such a connection cannot be erased with a simple decision or the passing of days. When someone truly misses you, they carry the memories and emotions with them like invisible baggage. These are not fleeting thoughts or passing curiosities. These are deep, enduring attachments that affect their behavior, decisions, and even their mood. They will notice things that remind them of you. A certain song, a particular scent, or a familiar place can trigger waves of nostalgia and longing. Their heart reacts even when their mind tells them to move on. And this is why real attachment doesn't disappear. It exists in layers of experience, in emotional imprints that informed over time and reinforced by moments shared. The longer the connection, the deeper the imprint, and the harder it is for someone to simply let go. Emotional bonds do not obey logic, and the passage of time does not erase significance. People who have formed a genuine attachment do not instantly detach simply because circumstances change. Instead, they internalize the connection. They remember how it felt to be with you, how it felt to laugh with you, to share thoughts, and to be vulnerable. Even if they have to create physical distance or refrain from contact, the bond persists silently within them. This is why, when someone misses you deeply, they may not call or text as often, but their thoughts remain occupied with you. Their emotional world continues to hold space for you, even when the outer world seems indifferent. Attachment is cumulative. Every shared memory, every small act of kindness, every conversation contributes to the emotional foundation that cannot be easily dismantled. That is why someone who misses you does not simply forget or move on as if you were inconsequential. People without attachment leave cleanly. Their absence is clear, their mind unoccupied, their emotions unburdened. But the person who misses you deeply carries pieces of you with them, whether you realize it or not. These pieces influence how they perceive the world, how they relate to others, and even how they respond to new experiences. You become a reference point in their emotional life, and that reference point is not easily erased. Time, paradoxically, can strengthen attachment rather than weaken it. Distance does not always diminish longing. In many cases, it amplifies it. When someone misses you, they replay memories, revisit conversations, and remember moments that brought joy or comfort. These memories become anchors, holding their emotions steady even when they cannot express them directly. The absence of contact does not equal absence of feeling. The attachment persists because it has become integrated into their sense of self. The bond is no longer just about shared moments. It is about how those moments shaped who they are and how they feel. Even the smallest interactions can trigger the persistence of attachment. A casual mention of your name, a reminder of a place you went together, or a familiar sound can revive emotions that have been quietly stored away. These triggers are powerful because they remind them of what they miss, reinforcing the invisible connection they carry. This is why someone who has truly attached to you may seem affected by things that appear insignificant to others. To them, these small details are loaded with meaning, evidence of the bond that remains intact despite physical absence or limited contact. The enduring nature of attachment also explains why people sometimes linger emotionally even when circumstances suggest they should let go. They may appear hesitant, cautious, or distant, but the truth is, their bond is still alive within them. They may test boundaries indirectly, gauge your responses, or stay emotionally aware without being overtly present. This is a sign that the attachment has not faded. It has simply adapted to new conditions. The heart holds on even when the mind advises caution because genuine attachment is resilient, flexible, and persistent. So, when you notice someone behaving in ways that suggest lingering care, subtle observation, or quiet concern, understand that these are signs of enduring attachment. The connection has not disappeared, it has not been replaced, and it cannot be erased by time alone. Real bonds last because they are formed from shared experiences, deep emotion, and mutual significance. They persist in thought, in feeling, and in subtle action. That is why someone who misses you deeply continues to exist in your life indirectly. Emotionally tethered, even when physically apart, they carry you with them, they think of you often, and they remain affected by you, because genuine attachment doesn't vanish. It endures quietly and powerfully, shaping their emotional world in ways that are invisible but undeniable. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something truly profound, something that touches the core of human relationships, and that is this: when someone misses you deeply, they don't just miss your presence, they miss how you made them feel. This is a truth many people overlook because they think emotions are only about physical presence or shared time. But the human heart remembers feelings far more vividly than it remembers actions. When someone misses you deeply, it's not only your face, your voice, or your laughter they long for. It's the comfort, the security, the joy, and the warmth that your presence brought into their life. They are not just missing you. They are missing the way their life felt when you were a part of it, the way their heart responded to your care and attention, the sense of being understood, valued, and seen that only you could provide. Think about it for a moment. Emotions are associative. Our minds attach feelings to experiences, people, and places. When someone misses you, their mind automatically recalls not just the moments you shared, but the emotional resonance of those moments. They remember the way you laughed at their jokes, the way you comforted them when they were low, the way you encouraged them when they doubted themselves. These are not trivial memories. They are the emotional foundation of attachment. The longing they feel is tied not just to you as a person, but to the experience of being with you, to the transformation you brought into their emotional world. When you're gone, the absence isn't merely physical, it's emotional, existential even, because it reminds them of the way life felt fuller, safer, and richer when you were present. People often fail to recognize this because they focus on tangible evidence. They look for phone calls, visits, or texts. They want actions that can be measured and observed. But missing someone deeply is often internal. It's subtle. It's quiet. It's a feeling that cannot be fully communicated because it exists in layers of emotional experience that defy simple expression. A person may smile in public, laugh with others, and seem perfectly fine, while inside they are haunted by memories of the emotional comfort you gave them. They feel a pull, a subtle tug toward what they once had, not because they are weak, but because they are deeply human, and human hearts remember emotion with exceptional clarity. And let me emphasize this, what they miss about you is not superficial. It is not your appearance or superficial gestures. It is your effect on them, the way your presence influenced their inner world. They miss the person they were when they were with you. They miss the confidence you inspired, the sense of belonging you created, the reassurance that they were important, that they mattered. That kind of missing is profound because it reaches beyond the surface. It penetrates identity, shaping the way they see themselves in the world. When you are absent, the void isn't just about losing someone in their daily life. It's about losing a piece of the emotional ecosystem they thrived in, the very framework that supported their sense of happiness and self-worth. This type of longing often manifests in indirect ways. Someone who misses you deeply may seek out reminders of the emotional connection you shared. They might remember conversations, revisit old messages, or recall the advice and encouragement you gave them. They might notice when something in their life mirrors what they once shared with you, prompting feelings of nostalgia, longing, and sometimes regret. And these moments are not superficial, they are deeply reflective. They trigger an internal dialogue about the value of what was lost and the emotional imprint you left behind. Each memory reinforces the significance of your presence, reminding them why your absence is felt so acutely. Moreover, this longing is persistent. Unlike fleeting crushes or temporary infatuation, missing someone because of the emotional impact they had on you does not fade quickly. The mind and heart continue to revisit the feelings, sometimes daily, sometimes sporadically, but always with intensity. Even when life moves on externally, internally, a person carries these feelings. They may try to distract themselves with work, new relationships, or other experiences, but the emotional resonance of what they shared with you remains embedded within them. This is why someone who truly misses you will occasionally appear emotionally distant yet internally occupied. They are navigating a space where your emotional influence continues to shape their reactions and decisions. It is also important to understand that missing someone in this way can inspire reflection and growth. They may evaluate their own actions, recognize mistakes, or contemplate what could have been done differently. They might internalize lessons about themselves, relationships, and emotional vulnerability because of the impact you had on them. The absence of your presence triggers introspection, reminding them of the depth of connection they experienced and the value it brought to their life. This is why, in many cases, people emerge from periods of missing someone not only longing but transformed. They carry lessons, memories, and emotional awareness that stems directly from how you affected their inner world. So, when someone misses you deeply, remember that it is not about superficial presence. It is about emotional resonance, the lasting imprint you left on their heart. They are longing not for your mere existence, but for the way your presence made them feel alive, safe, appreciated, and understood. They are missing the person they were with you, and they are emotionally tethered to the feelings that define that experience. This kind of missing is profound, transformative, and enduring. It is subtle yet undeniable. It is quiet yet loud in the spaces where emotions are real. And it is perhaps one of the most sincere indicators that someone's connection with you is meaningful, lasting, and deeply human. Ladies and gentlemen, Let's talk about something that is often misunderstood, but is one of the most profound truths about human emotion. Silence can carry stronger emotions than words. Many people assume that love, longing, or missing someone must be loud, demonstrative, and visible to be real. We are conditioned to measure feelings by what we see, what we hear, and what we can prove. We expect declarations, messages, calls, or visits as evidence of attachment. But the truth is, the strongest emotions often travel quietly. Silence is not absence. Silence is not emptiness. Silence can be a vessel for the deepest longing, the most heartfelt attachment, and the truest form of missing someone. In fact, silence often speaks louder than any words could. When someone misses you deeply, their silence is not a lack of feeling. It is the weight of feeling itself. Sometimes the heart cannot find the words to express what it carries. Sometimes the mind is afraid of the vulnerability that comes with confession. The person may fear rejection, misunderstanding, or even the emotional intensity that would follow a direct admission. So instead of speaking, they exist quietly with their emotions. They may observe you from a distance, think of you constantly, and replay memories of your interactions, all without ever verbalizing what they feel. That silence is not indifference, it is presence in a hidden form. It is the subtle language of someone who is emotionally tethered to you, even if you cannot hear their voice. Silence can also be deliberate. People who miss you deeply often restrain themselves intentionally. They may have the urge to reach out, to speak, to reconnect, but they hold back because they are cautious. They are careful not to disrupt your life, not to intrude, and not to reveal too much of their vulnerability. This restraint does not diminish their feelings. In fact, it intensifies them. The act of holding back, of existing quietly in the background while carrying a storm of emotion internally, requires strength, patience, and an immense capacity for emotional control. It is not weakness. It is the hidden power of someone who values connection so deeply that they protect it through silence. The quiet nature of strong emotion also allows it to persist longer. Words can be fleeting, actions can fade, but silence carries weight over time. When someone misses you silently, they replay memories, revisit emotions, and relive moments of connection internally. Their heart continues to engage with you even when their lips are sealed and their hands remain idle. This internal process reinforces attachment, making their feelings endure, even in the absence of interaction. They may appear outwardly calm, neutral, or distant, but inside, every memory and every thought about you reverberates, keeping the emotional bond alive. That is the paradox of silence. It can be calm on the surface while turbulent beneath, holding within it the full force of longing that words could never capture. Silence also fosters subtle communication, which is perhaps the most powerful form of emotional expression. When someone misses you, you may notice indirect signs that they are thinking of you. A glance, a slight gesture, or even just consistent presence without direct engagement can reveal what words cannot. These silent cues are often more authentic than spoken declarations because they are harder to manipulate. Someone who genuinely feels deeply will reveal it unintentionally in their habits, in their attention, and in their small, quiet actions. You don't need them to say it, they show it. And that is the beauty of silence. It transforms emotion into action, thought, and presence in ways that are subtle but undeniable. Silence becomes a language, one that only the observant heart can interpret. Another aspect of silence is its intimacy. There is something profoundly private and sacred about unspoken emotion. When someone misses you silently, they carry those feelings internally, sharing them with no one else. Their longing becomes a personal, internal experience that strengthens their emotional connection to you. It is a devotion that does not need external validation. They do not seek recognition for their feelings. They simply exist with them. This makes silent longing deeply sincere, as it is free from performance or expectation. It is the purest form of emotional engagement, unfiltered, undiluted, and entirely honest. Silence protects the vulnerability of the heart while allowing the depth of feeling to persist. Finally, silence allows emotions to mature and crystallize. Words can sometimes diminish feelings because they force expression before the emotion is fully formed. But in silence, emotions can grow, evolve, and deepen. Someone who misses you deeply may take time to process what they feel, to understand it, and to integrate it into their life without external pressure. They experience longing not as a momentary impulse, but as a sustained, reflective, and meaningful engagement with their own heart. The quiet presence of their emotions gives them space to grow and strengthens the significance of their attachment to you. By existing in silence, they preserve the authenticity of their feelings and the integrity of the connection they carry. So when you encounter someone who misses you deeply but does not speak of it, do not mistake silence for absence, apathy, or disinterest. Silence can be the loudest testament of all. It can hold the weight of longing, the depth of attachment, and the sincerity of feeling in ways that words often cannot. It is deliberate, persistent, subtle, intimate, and powerful. It communicates without speaking, endures without action, and resonates without sound. If you pay attention, you can sense the presence of this silent emotion everywhere, in small gestures and indirect signs, in subtle behaviors, and in the quiet spaces where words are absent but feelings are abundant. That is the remarkable, profound truth of human connection. Sometimes the loudest messages are conveyed not through speech, but through the weight and depth of silence itself.